So part 2 for this project is to take your Sharpie and outline all of your pencil lines. You're going to want to do that first, and then I'll talk about the details. So I'm going to start it, and then I'll pause my camera. I want to talk about how you're going to go around this circle. So you absolutely could do this. You can absolutely get your tracer, and then you can take your Sharpie and go around it that way. But you can also, I know it's sometimes a little nerve-wracking to try to go over a line perfectly, but if I have a start spot and an end spot, so if I know how far my wrist can travel here, if I start on this curve and carry it to my first point and stop, and then I'm going to go to my next one. Okay, and I'm going to go all the way around my circle, and it might not be perfect. But if you ever need to trace something that's like a perfect circle, it's very, very difficult to go around it perfectly without stopping. But if you have these start points and you rotate the paper around and around, it will help you. Okay, so that's one of my pencil lines. You know what? The only line I don't want you to trace is that center point. You can go ahead and get rid of that center point. Otherwise, you can just very carefully go over all of your pencil lines for your buildings. And yes, you can absolutely use a ruler for this, but that is pretty time consuming to line up all those edges again. But if you are a perfectionist, you can definitely do that. Just go slowly and carefully, and do make sure your Sharpie is in good condition, and it's going to really give you a nice straight line when you do that. So please go over all of those lines, and I'll be back for the next step. So once you have all of your lines traced, now is the fun part where you get to put your own spin on everything. Hopefully you did that a little bit with the different towers or the different designs on the tops of your buildings. But now I want you to think about different ways you can fill in your buildings with different types of windows. So here are some examples. We could do a building all out of brick. We could do just horizontal lines. We can do thick and thin lines. You can do blacked out windows. You could do them just rectangular so that you can see through them. Again, thick lines, parallel, dashes, whatever works for you. But you do need to fill up both of the sides of your buildings, both faces of your buildings. Some of your buildings you might choose just to darken one of the edges, like it's in shadow. So I know that I want to do that on that one building that has that weird connection there. I don't love how that connected. So I am going to fill in that one dark side of this building. I know that I want to do that. Okay. And you can do that on any of them. Please don't do it on all of them. So just choose, I don't know, 3, maybe 4 buildings where all you need to do is just darken up one side. And then from there, you know, I always encourage you to sketch your ideas first, because you can erase them if they're done in pencil. If you are really careful, if you have a good, careful hand, you can certainly just start right away with your different lines. But let's say I wanted to put windows on this building. And for this one, I'm going to just keep with my parallel lines. So this one, I'm going to just do this in marker because I'm pretty confident that I can do this. So just make sure if you are doing horizontal lines, they line right up with the angle of the top of your building. I'll do it so you can see it. So I'm doing all of my lines. I'm making sure they're parallel and evenly spaced. I will say I'm pretty good about spacing them out, but if you want to try to sketch them out first, you can. If I want the same lines here on the side lines, they need to be a mirrored angle of my one here. So the one here on the side slants down. I want to make sure it has that same slant all the way down. So all of my slanted lines are also parallel. Okay, we want to keep that same angle all the way down. Okay, so if you decide to do something like this, and I'm just doing some thick vertical lines, and then I'm going to do a thick parallel. My Sharpie's on its last leg here. I'm going to do a thick parallel, horizontal. I'm going to do another row of thick vertical, and then I'm going to do another thick horizontal. Just make sure that my horizontals are the same angle as the top of my building, and hopefully these verticals are at the same angle as the sides of your buildings. So with that being said, when I do my side ones here, they have to be angled the same angle as the top of my building. So if I were to put a ruler here, this should be the same angle as this, and this should be the same angle as this, okay? And then I can do my verticals as well. I'm trying to keep the same angle as what is right next to it. Okay, so have some fun, come up with some different ideas. I'm sure you're more creative and have more ideas than I do. So come up with some different ideas for windows. Make sure you've gone over everything in Sharpie. You have one more thing to do with Sharpie when you're done with all of the windows. Well, two more things, I should say. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to make sure you erase. So I happen to have a big eraser here, but you're going to make sure any pencil lines that are still showing, you do erase any of those that you see. And last but not least, you're going to create some sort of border around your circle. So you could do, I'll show you the one that I have, but you're staying with the circular shape. You're trying to stay, actually, if you have a circle that is just slightly bigger, you could actually trace around it. This desk that I'm working on is so stinking wobbly. It makes so much noise. But I want you to have at least 3 or 4 different kind of lines around the edge of your circle. Let me show you the one that I finished already. All right, so this is the one that I finished. I did some evenly spaced polka dots, and then I did 2 lines of bumps. So you could do anything. You can keep it just a straight circle. You could do a zigzag line, even zigzags or uneven zigzags, whatever you would like. So this is going to be my second line around here. And I'm trying to keep it, I'm trying to rotate my paper as I go. And because my paper is so small, it will go off the edges. You could double that one up, or you could find another type of line to go around it. You could do a dotted line, a polka dotted line. That is up to you. So that is your last step. So with the Sharpie, you have gone over all of your building pencil lines. You have added the edges of your building, some darkened, some added with windows. You have erased any leftover pencil lines that you have, and then you are creating a border around the edge of your buildings. Okay? When you're done with that, you are on to the last step, which will be adding color. So I will be back with our last video for how to finish this project. Good luck. Reach out if you have any questions, and I will see you soon.